Hello, and welcome
Hello.
to the Super Bros podcast, featuring
podcast.
Candido Crespo,
Hey.
Jose Ojeda, and
Hello.
myself, Miguel Melendez. Thanks for tuning in. I hope we'll have a very spirited discussion this week. And this week, one of my favorite topics, games.
Woohoo!
So,
Games.
how's everybody doing before we get into anything else? How's everybody
yeah.
doing?
End of the school year. Time is about to free up, and I am absolutely in love with this topic of conversation because it is probably going to plan out what my next few weeks are going to be like, and how I'm going to convince Miguel that he has a few more minutes before he has to go to work to play.
Nice. Cool.
Central Isla Pat is what.
Yeah, I'm in full pride right now. Actually, I got my school right here.
Oh, that's a dope hat.
Mulligan.
Thanks.
Yeah, it is very good.
It's pretty good, right? It was a fundraiser
Nice.
for the baseball team.
Oh,
It's like thick stitching.
official fits, too.
Not really. It doesn't pop off significantly, but
From-
they did a good job.
From far
It
away,
does
you
look
look
good.
like a veteran. It looks like a veteran's hat. It looks like
Ooh.
you were in the war of baseball. Like the
Yeah, no.
baseball war.
War
No,
baseball.
No war.
Hey, what's up,
How you
man?
doing,
What's
bro?
new with you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing all right. Yeah. I'm repping my Johnny Cash shirt. I went
It
to
is,
Nashville.
man.
I went to Nashville. It was good. It was a good
When?
time. This weekend. It was a
Oh,
long
crap.
trip. We drove forever. It was a 10-hour drive back. to
Was it for
Baltimore.
a concert or something?
No, it was just kind of to go. We had a free weekend, like a
Okay.
long weekend. So we drove down North Carolina, zoomed on over and stuff. It was good.
Okay.
Yeah, I liked it.
Very cool.
Miguel.
My week was full of wedding planning
Mm.
and catching up on stuff that should have been done 3 months ago.
Oh, yeah.
Every week.
But,
That's every week.
but
All
it's done, so very
right, that's
exciting.
good.
Yeah, and we're gonna do some cake tasting Friday tomorrow. So that's gonna be
Red
good.
velvet and cream cheese
Delicious.
frosting.
Oh, you got to see the
Boom.
photos.
There's
Is it?
too many.
It's ridiculous. But yeah, that's about it. So
Cool.
let's just jump right into it, guys. Let's talk about games. What was our first
Games.
gaming memory?
Okay. How we should we just keep the same rotation? I do.
Yeah,
I
why
go
not?
and then.
Yeah, give it
All
a
right.
start. First
Okay.
gaming memory. Young Dito.
All right. So I'm sure something even further back will come up as we discuss. But I had a close friend in my. I want to say friend because he definitely became a friend. More of a family member. Was a tenant in my parents' house, and he was an artist, a great artist. And he was drawing the characters from what would eventually become my favorite video game from Super Nintendo, Killer Instinct, a fighting video game. And I loved the video game already. I was already sold on the video game.
Right.
I didn't need any more convincing that it was one of the best fighting video games. But then when this guy started drawing these characters, well, then I became inseparable. Like I just needed to always play that game to the point that when Killer Instinct 2 came out at in arcade, they brought the arcade to the deli up the block, and I
What?
spent time religiously up there, man. And I
Wow.
mean quarter after quarter after quarter,
Wow.
Wow.
loving the game.
Where your
However,
quarter money from?
yeah, where did I get my? I have to figure that out.
No.
But I didn't have
Income,
64. I didn't have a Nintendo 64, so I could never play it at home. So I always had to go to the arcade to play it.
Was 2 on N64?
Yeah,
Oh wow. Okay.
yeah. So I could never play it on console. I always had to go to play it there. But yeah, that's probably one of my fondest memories. Earlier on, and like I said, I'm sure as we continue to speak, something else will come up.
Sure. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know you had that. I knew that you liked Killer Instinct. I didn't know that you had that kind of connection to it.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. Jose.
My first video game experience was Christmas 1980 something. I was maybe 5, 6. Let's say I was 6 years old, and then I got a NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good job, Dad. And then came with Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt, and came with the Duck Hunt gun.
Yeah.
So classic. So that was my first
Yep.
video game. It was great. I played. I was definitely the kid who would get up with the gun and stand right up next to the TV and shoot. I cheat. I'm a big cheater. All of my cousins could attest to that. I cheated a lot in my younger days. Not the best habit, but hopefully I grew out of that a little bit. And also, some of my cousins had these small consoles. They weren't official consoles. They were more like, they had like little mini joysticks. They're like a weird hybrid game. Have you ever guys encountered this? It was almost if you took a full-size arcade game and then just made it miniature. It had that same kind of look, little plastic, and it went beep, 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 beep.
I think I had a car one like that.
Yeah, it was, and they came in different. I almost called them flavors. They came in different games associated with them. So those two things were my early starts. I'm not that old where I remember Pong. I never played Atari at all, so I missed that.
Right.
It's pretty early on at NES.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my first memory isn't too dissimilar from that. I remember for a long time, my sister was saving up change and rolling them up in those. Remember those sleeves that you brought to those sleeves, and you bring them to the bank. And so she was doing that for a while, and I don't think that I was really cognizant of why she was doing that. And then just one day, she brought home. I don't think it was for a holiday. I think she just one day was able to save up enough, and she brought it home, and I was just enthralled by Mario. And I remember just nonstop playing, and then not only Mario but also Duck Hunt. And then from that point, I was just in love.
That dog,
laughing
you
at
had to get him.
Yeah.
I think was even trying to get the ducks.
I think he was my first bully. Honestly, I think was that dog.
I definitely believe that.
Yeah, he bullied me. He's laughing at you. It was like,
I definitely believe that.
I don't want to play anymore.
So my memory started from Super Nintendo because we didn't own NES either. The first console that my family ever bought for me was Super Nintendo.
Right.
So yes, I have played NES, but the memory isn't as fond as when I had my own.
Right.
All right.
Nintendo.
So this past week was the E3 conferences for 2016.
Yes. We should dive into that.
Yeah.
What does I'm gonna play a role this podcast as a character, and my character is gonna be the guy who doesn't know that much about video games. Again, this is just a role, so play along, guys. Cool. What does E3 stand for?
The electronic
3.
I think it's just electronic gaming. I'm not sure why they didn't.
Let me see.
I thought it was just electronic gaming. I don't know why. What the 3 stands for.
3? Let's find out. Maybe.
Yeah.
In the background.
Let's look that up.
Or maybe I'll look it up while you guys start talking.
Yeah. In the meantime, so every console, every
Electronic Entertainment Expo.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
3
it's
E's.
E, 3 E's.
Should have known that. Should have known that.
Triple E. Got it.
Anyway. So let's talk about it. A lot of news. I think most of this stuff is sort of
Was already anticipated. Is that what you were saying?
yeah, it wasn't too surprising, right?
Right.
But go ahead, Dito. What were your reactions, or do you want to kind of?
I think we should break it up. Why don't we just start with Microsoft? Because I feel like we might be in and out of that pretty quickly. So, Xbox One is hoping for a much better year, right? Because they were trailing behind Sony significantly.
Right.
So they're dropping a Slim, which seems like it has sparked your interest. A new console.
One S. They're they're starting over. They're launching the console that they should have launched initially. Although I would argue that Kinect was a failed opportunity because I think if developers designed specifically for it, there was potential there to make some really cool products.
So, quick question: are they not having the Kinect anymore? That kind of feature?
Okay, so with the Xbox One S, if you currently have a Kinect,
it'll work with it.
Right, you have to go on Xbox.com and you can get an adapter.
Sure,
and do an adapter for it, but it doesn't currently have the same.
That's so interesting.
They're sort of like rebranding. They're trying to move away from Kinect, I think, because it was such a commercial failure.
commercial failure, but revolutionary item, really, if you think about it. I think more it extended beyond gaming, you know, because as an artist, I heard of the Kinect. People would use it at shows and stuff. Or
for sure.
Interactive installations.
Yeah, and
So
there was this hackathon that I went to, the one that I always reference. But there was people there using it.
Yeah, it's a hacker's dream. They all love it. Like, what can we do? It was almost part of the equation. Something plus Kinect equals successful project.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, I think you had a lot of developers doing very not significant, not significantly utilizing it. Exceptions. There was the Xbox workout app. What is it called?
Yep.
That fitness, Xbox Fitness or whatever. And I actually used that for a while, and it motivated me actually because it was kind of the gamification of it. As you were working out, it kind of compelled you to do more, and then it showed you kind of what your friends did for a certain exercise type. So you were kind of racing against your friends in a way.
Kind of like we're doing now.
Right. Yeah, with Fitbit. So it was like that, but you're standing in front of your TV, taking instructions from. How
about Just Dance, man? I feel like those games were pretty revolutionary. I mean, gaming feels like that. That individual that it's been stereotyped as being a tool for isolation. Right. But then you play a game like Just Dance, and you're in the middle of a house party, and everyone is playing. So that was pretty cool as how it can turn socialization into gaming as well.
So is there anyone else picking this venue, like this avenue up, or
so
is it just
PlayStation lost their opportunity too with the Move? That was kind of a bust.
So no one's really moving on this.
I think what happened was back with Wii, where this idea was sort of first introduced. It was sort of a gimmick in a way, but the thing is that the Wii did it really well in that it allowed people who didn't game to come in and have a gaming experience without having to know the intricacies of a controller. Right? You didn't have to know how to use a controller. You had this one kind of wand thing, right? And you were able to play a game, and so I think Sony and Microsoft tried to build off of that. And they ultimately weren't successful because it wasn't as easy. But then more of the hardcore audience, I guess, was waiting for that one sort of killer app that really utilized it, that really, and that it just never came for either console. So,
killer app. Yeah. Let's keep it moving.
Keep moving, right? All right. So sticking with Microsoft, what I consider, and Miguel may argue, and we may have other news, but Gears of War 4 is probably the only thing that can convince me to buy an Xbox. That's the only game that just will take me over the edge.
Why is that?
You said you were big on Gears, right?
Yeah, Gears, and I let Halo slip through, right? I mean, Halo came and kind of went though.
Yeah,
it's not something that we discussed a lot. Why Gears of War? It's got a good feel to it, man. It's just a fun multiplayer game. Yeah. The game.
What's the general premise besides shoot?
Army versus aliens. No, that's the premise. Shooting. Only this time in this particular franchise, you have a chainsaw, so it gets a little bit different than just shooting. When you get up close, close combat. Huh?
Are you in space?
You're on Earth, right?
I don't know.
I don't know if I don't know if it is Earth. It's like a alternate reality sort of Earth situation where you have aliens that have burrowed themselves inside the planet, and then one day they come up. I forget what they call it. But come up here, and it's your job to shoot them and chainsaw them. But I think the main what's cool about Gears is the cover system.
Yeah, mechanics.
Those mechanics is what makes it really unique, and it just feels like like Guido was saying, it just feels really good.
Yeah.
It's funny. Can I bring in chainsaws one real quick?
Sure.
Okay.
Going back to early memories of chainsaws, I remember Doom. Doom was another early memory, and they had chainsaws in there. And Doom
just relaunched.
Scary. Yeah, I feel like Doom always relaunches. They had a movie.
No, this time is sort of
Maybe
Yeah,
that's
No,
Duke
this time
Nukem.
it's big time.
This time
This
it's not Doom 3 or whatever. It's Doom, and
It was a nightmare. They had like those pink things. Remember those big pink nasty
all the
things?
ugly monsters are in there.
Nightmare City, man. Anyway,
Is there anything else on Microsoft that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I mean, there was a lot there. I think Sea of Thieves, which was from Rare, is sort of this open world multiplayer pirate simulation type game that you play with your friends. I don't know if you saw a demo for that.
No, I didn't. Pretty good.
It seems really interesting. They showed a demo of just like regular people. Well, it was obviously staged, but it gave you the idea of just kind of like what it would be like to play with your friends. So I just kind of blocked out what everybody was saying. I was kind of imagining myself
as a pirate
in my friends playing, in that game world, and it seemed really cool.
Cool.
Seemed like fun. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff on the indie side. We Happy Few, which is sort of like BioShock in a way, but the game sort of has this theme around drug abuse and addiction. Sort of like everybody, there's this mechanic where you take drugs, and if you take drugs, you see the world in a certain light. If you stop taking it, you see it differently. And so everybody else is constantly on drugs, and so if they sort of detect that you're not like them, like all happy, then it looks like they start getting mad at you and start coming after you. So that was probably their biggest indie sort of reveal.
Is this it wasn't a negative drug message then, right? It was like drugs are bad.
I don't think the message is apparent. I don't think it's really. Yeah, I don't think.
That's good.
Saying, yeah, and it's too early to tell. But the game launches in August, so
that's interesting.
And sort of like a preview capacity, so it'd be interesting to check that out.
This is maybe a little old now, but I heard of a game based on sort of someone who had cancer. Like I heard a podcast about a man and a woman, like a husband and wife who had a child, and they were game developers.
Mm-hmm.
And then you heard of this? Maybe you know more than I do.
Yeah, it's called That Dragon Cancer.
That Dragon Cancer.
Mm-hmm. I didn't play it, so I can't really speak to it.
I thought that was really interesting, and from what I understand, it takes. They developed it after the daughter, and you can make decisions and on some real deep stuff. And I was only reminded because you brought up the whole drug situation, which gets a little deeper than.
Yeah.
So
check that out.
I would say in the last 3 or 4 years, you see the rise of games that are about stuff, about like real life things.
Is this a good opportunity to talk about gaming, and should grown people be playing games, or do we still have more to talk about?
Yeah, we could always weave it in.
Yeah, we can jump around.
We could weave it in. Yeah, so that topic of conversation comes up often, right? Should men
grown men
be playing?
Now, when we say men, I know we're quick to be like, no, just men. Is it specifically men, or is it more just adults? Because there is a big.
I think the statement is for men. So
okay.
So it's kind of the statement I think actually comes from men towards men, and challenging the concept of is video games or the idea of play a manly thing.
Time,
right?
Yeah, manly
time. An efficient way of using your time as an adult.
Right. And shouldn't you be building something? Shouldn't you be fixing something?
Shouldn't you have grown
Right.
beyond these childish things?
Right.
I see. Okay.
So I mean, how do you want to tackle this one?
Well, maybe we could start with the preconceptions, which we have already a little bit. Like you should be doing something else with your time. You haven't grown. You're immature. Usually, the stereotypes in movies and the media of the loser, the grown-up loser in his 30s guy, usually portrays him as sitting home and playing video games.
Living in his mom's basement.
Right. Mm-hmm. So it's part of that narrative of the loser or the person who hasn't progressed. Right. So that's like the media perception on men who game.
Yeah, and I don't think that's just media perception, though. I think I think like the same way we started this conversation, I think people do generally feel that way.
I think so. And whether it's because of the media or not, or you know,
Right.
it was made for kids. You know, video games were at first made for children by adults because adults make them. Maybe not. I mean, maybe if we go back to Pong.
I want to say no.
Okay.
They were made by adults, and adults wanted entertainment through a different vehicle. So not necessarily playing on a playground or
That's true.
playing on a field, playing on a court. A different opportunity to play.
Yeah.
But at some point, it did shift. Like however it started, at some point, it did shift the market towards a younger
Commercially,
audience.
I think
For a
during the
while.
late '80s, you saw a big push for the home console, and I think the home console was sort of marketed as like a child's toy.
Right.
So yeah.
But a computer-based game in
Oh,
which
for
we
sure.
were talking about Origins,
Right.
parents couldn't afford that for children.
Right.
That's not something you couldn't buy a computer to play games for your kid because computers were out of reach. So that couldn't be a kid's toy.
Right.
You know, and
Absolutely.
consoles made it more affordable. Yeah. So that would have given way, and I believe they would have used it as a marketing tool at that time. Yeah, to then become a children's toy.
Right. But yeah, absolutely. For that, it was a way for software developers, early software developers, to kind of hone their craft, sort of practicing, by building out different systems and stuff, and people would create these games, and they would be. A lot of them were actually narrative focused when you start, not anything with graphics, but just kind of like narrative playthrough experiences. Sort of the way we have the Walking Dead games or the Telltale games, where it's kind of like make a choice, and then you have like this branching path, and then.
Are you out there talking about Oregon Trail, man?
Well, that's one of them, right?
Because Jose knows about Oregon Trail.
I
Does
do.
he?
I love it. That was great.
Yes,
That was
it does.
another one of my early experiences, Oregon Trail. That's where I learned about dysentery.
He did a piece not too long ago. Don't you have a piece?
I'll
You have a
look for it.
wagon, right?
I made a wagon. Let me see if
Yeah.
I might not have the wagon here. I'll
Okay.
look real quick.
So we'll keep chatting on our end. So he had done a piece on Oregon Trail. We used to play it in school. What did you play, Oregon Trail?
I probably played it on the Max.
Yeah, right? In Brentwood?
In Brentwood, yeah.
wagon.
I was there was a time where I was it's funny. I was safety patrol. Do you remember that?
Safety Pro? What'd you say?
They would select one student, right, from the class. This was like fourth
Okay.
grade or something. And you'd wear this little sash and you'd stand out in the hallway, you'd help direct.
Oh, Safety Patrol.
Right. Do you remember that? Or
Of course.
Right.
No, I didn't. No, don't say I was a Safety Patrol. That's what you were, man.
Exactly, right? That was always the weirdo kid, right? That was safety patrol. Cool. But what I did was use my safety patrol title to go to the computer lab, and I would play
abuse your
games.
power,
I did abuse my
just like everyone in
just
power.
like law enforcement, man.
Yeah.
Right.
See, it was meant to be.
All right, so I'm sure
Yeah.
Miguel and I, as active gamers, have our own. Being
Opinions
grown men and active gamers have our own opinions about whether or not people should be playing. But Jose, why don't you first say why you don't game?
Why?
Which isn't
Right.
necessarily a negative answer. I would just
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me start with when I stopped gaming, which would
Okay.
be maybe like 6 to 8 years ago is when I stopped gaming. And I think that was, again, my PS3. And the last thing I remember really liking was Grand Theft Auto. One of the Grand Theft Autos, maybe 3 or 4. And I loved it. It was great. It was a great immersive world. I appreciated it. But I spent a lot of time on it. I spent hours,
Yeah.
so many hours. And I loved it. It was great. And I think for me, then I got busy in life and I didn't have as much time. And then I just never went back. And I guess my last memory of video games is that they take a lot of time. As
Yes.
fun as they are, they just take a lot of time that I could be doing something else. So I didn't see the value into getting back into it. While I recognize that if I did, I would love it still. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, totally.
And it's the same reason why I don't get into certain shows, like Game of Thrones or X, Y, and Z or Orange is the something or other, is I just know that it's going to be a time suck for me.
Sure.
That's all. And it's not that I think negatively. I just know myself, and
Right.
it's not something I'd want to do
Mhm.
right now.
All right,
but I might try and dabble.
Right.
Well, if you hang out with Miguel long enough, he's going to persuade you. So,
I'm going to
Miguel,
influence you.
you are an adult male who plays video games. Why?
So I'm actually, I think I go through seasons in my life where I'm very much into it. It's a medium, of entertainment that that's pretty dominant, like insofar as how I consume entertainment. But then there are times that I don't play at all, and I think what attracts me is when you have that sort of genre defining. Sort of like that one game, sort of like a GTA 3, or
Right.
Going back, Zelda: Link to the Past, or Final Fantasy 7 on the original PlayStation. These sort of games that kind of redefine what gaming has the potential to be about, and those are sort of the experiences that always suck me back in. And then aside from that, I would say that I've always, and this is probably more important, is I've always liked games as a medium, as like a social experience, like playing games with other people. Yes, I'll play games, single player games, but I rather play cooperatively or competitively with friends, like people that I know. And so that's also something that kind of brings me back to games whenever there's sort of a new or really cool experience where I can get together with a group of friends and sort of discover this brand new world or what have you.
Is it fair to say that gaming was sort of one of the original social media networks? Like, was it around before like the Facebooks and stuff? Like that live, RPG. Well, I don't even know there's too many acronyms in this world.
Role-playing game.
I guess so. On PC, right? Like Half-Life, Miguel?
Like-
Half-Life was pretty...
Because people would play on LAN networks
on
right?
PC.
So Half-Life, yeah, but you definitely had the big open world RPGs, MMORPGs, like EverQuest and Warcraft. Warcraft, which I'm trying to think, was Warcraft 3?
So,
Yeah, right.
Jose, maybe. I mean, you would have to go out of your way to establish a relationship with people. Like, you'd have to take it outside of the game.
Not even, because
just
you
a chat,
would speak, wouldn't you?
vehicle.
Wouldn't you speak in game? There was no in-game chat. Yeah, so I
Some
think
games
that
would allow you to.
the first social network.
Sufficient?
in that
Yeah, for
sense.
sure.
That's interesting, and I don't think that gaming gets that kind of credit for that. We all point to like Facebook or Friends or MySpace to be the originators, but I don't think anyone thinks about that.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Got to look into that more.
Yeah. I think
Tito.
I think the thing with Facebook is there's just less of a barrier of entry, and there's not an emphasis
More open.
on
Yeah.
gaming. It's more about access to information, really.
That was a revolution.
Right.
Dito, grown man in his 30s, married, plays video games. Wow.
So it took some requesting of permission from my end, because, and this argument is definitely available, probably more so for the Call of Duty players who just make this commitment to playing the game, and it interferes with relationships. So I've found a way to not let it interfere with the relationship and play on my own free time, be it mornings or while my wife is at work. So it cannot be a time commitment because I just won't allow myself to let it be so. But why do I play it? So I like the idea of acting or playing as somebody who I'm not, and escaping my reality. I have nothing to escape from. I love my reality. I'm completely pleased with it. But for 30 minutes, if I wanted to be a gun slinging, arrow throwing, axe wielding, whatever. And, for those 30 minutes, I want to be able to do that. And I like the idea of, unlike a movie, you're determining the outcome. So like, maybe you're supposed to pass the board, and yes, there is a next board waiting for you, but how you pass that board, or if you can pass that board, is up to you. Right? So unlike watching a movie for a form of entertainment, that's just already set in stone. It's just going to happen however it was recorded. So I like that aspect of it. And then the multiplayer aspect of it now, more than ever, has become super meaningful. So I loved local play. You play with somebody else in the same household. That's a lot of fun. There's a lot of junk talking that can happen, and a lot of experiences that can be shared, funny stories. But now, more than ever, you can actually be playing a totally separate video game from somebody else and still interacting with multiple people in a voice chat. So I could be playing Ninja Turtles. Miguel can be playing Destiny, and we can still be in the same chat talking. And then if we're like, "Yo, why don't you jump onto this game?" So
this
then
I wasn't aware of.
That
I didn't
game.
know you could do that. I didn't know.
Yeah, you can do some really awesome things now, man.
That's great. I admire that.
Pretty
it's just another way
things.
for people to communicate. And we were saying how no one talks anymore. No one, so we don't use our voices.
Right.
So this is another opportunity for people to actually do that and engage with someone, which is super important.
Right.
Because I think it opens up, because people used to hate on video games also because the same way they hated on TV, right? It's going to suck your brain. It's going to suck up all your attention. Well, if now you can express yourself or, get out of that box a little bit, then that's good.
Right. And I think ultimately, I'm sorry. Were you?
No, please.
Okay.
Please.
I think ultimately, sort of what defines gaming, right, as a special pastime is the agency that you feel when you're playing a game that you don't get with other mediums, right? Like everything else is sort of something you consume. You don't really play a part in anything. You sort of watch a movie or read a comic book and
scrolling through your feed. You're just consuming. Right. You don't really get to push back. Okay.
Whereas a game, right, there is that push and pull. There's the sort of sense of wonder, of exploring, even of earning, of achieving. So those sort of things are sort of central also to. So I think why I still actively play games.
And it activates a lot of reward receptors, I'm sure too, like in your brain and in your chemistry, right?
I think it does. I think honestly we could spend the whole podcast talking about gaming achievements and sort of how, what that does to the psyche. Or,
I think so. I think that's a great topic for another show because I think we're running sort of out of time, and I feel like I have tons to talk about in terms of not specific E3 games, but just sort of gaming in general. Like I'd love to bring up things like Second Life or the future of gaming, right? Where we want to be something else, like Tito said. Right. And it's an escape, whether we hate or love our life. You want to be something else. So
why don't we talk about, since since you mentioned that this might be a good time to just jump into VR. What do we think about virtual reality? Yeah. Because that's like, it seems to me like that's, you can play a game and sort of, surf the web at the same time or have a conversation with somebody and play. We were just talking about having a chat, right? And chatting with your friends while playing the game. You can sort of still have that experience, but when you're in VR, I don't know if you guys have had the chance to put on a VR headset or whatever. You're dedicated to that experience. Like that is now your reality for as long as you have that headset on. So how do you guys feel about that? What do you think that's going to do to gaming? Do you think it's going to be something?
Tito, your thought?
I'm not completely convinced that it's going to go very far. I'm not sold on the idea. I think it seems cool. I'd love to watch movies in it. I'd love to go to an amusement park and go on, I don't know, a Spider-Man ride and wear VR and be able to look around and see like all of New York City and all the web swinging. But as far as me wanting to play video games, I'm a little afraid that, and here's where probably my older man kicks in. Already being tapped into the TV and the controller and not like leaving that, that area, but now also blindfolding myself and being disconnected from like what's happening in the household as well. That's a
Right.
little bothersome to me. The idea that I can't just look over my shoulder and see if if there's a guest over the house, or if
You're
I need
too
to do
immersed.
something.
Right.
The full immersion is what you're
Yeah,
scared about.
that's what I think. Right. So that's what I'm scared of. Yeah. So that's my thing.
Can I go on a little rant?
Do it.
So
Yeah, please.
to address your fear of immersion, I know there's some systems where it's like augmented reality, like overlays, like VR overlays, where you still have like the landscape, but then you could see things on top of the real world. Or, so you're never fully gone from the experience. You're just sort of adding on to the real world. I forget what it's called.
Augmented reality.
There's a few systems like that are being developed.
HoloLens.
The HoloLens, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up Pokemon. Pokemon's got something like that going on.
Pokemon?
That's E3 related. Yeah, so like you're going out in the wild, like literally the world, catching Pokeballs. Like you throw your Pokeball and you catch the ball, you catch them all, whatever. The cool thing, and that's the same thing. You're still connected with the real world, and you're not blind.
Yes.
I thought it was cool that they have a wearable associated with this game.
Yes.
That's interesting. So that's going to play more. The future of virtual reality, I think it's only going to progress, but it's going to be two separate things. You're still going to have the world that Dito's talking about, where you want the tactile connected to the console. I play with my thumbs and I see with my eyes, but there's going to be a growing movement towards the virtual reality full immersion experience. I think that's not going anywhere. Elon Musk recently gave he had a quote. I forget what he was speaking at, but the idea of simulation theory came along. Our virtual reality and the way that we can manipulate graphics is growing so much that we're going to get to a point eventually where we're going to have an indistinguishable reality we can create. So the same way that we can create virtual worlds, we can recreate this world eventually. The Matrix, essentially. And so his theory and really simulation theory speaks is, if we're going to able to eventually do that, the odds are that we have already done that. Like mathematically, that's how the odds work out. So this could all already be a simulation.
Right.
That's a deeper
Right.
conversation.
That's the Matrix.
In short, I think it's just going to keep getting crazier.
Miguel?
I'm not convinced either. I don't want to. Like I was saying, a big part of playing games for me is the trash talking to your friend next to you. Is the sort of how it connects with your reality. So I'm not really about that. I'm not super interested in it. Do I think that there are going to be experiences that are going to be worthwhile to experience in that sort of setup? Yes, I do. But as sort of this pastime, the way I play games now, I don't see it dominating. I don't see it being the main thing. It might be something that I experience, once or twice, but yeah, I don't want to see gaming go in that direction. So I also agree with Jose in that I think that VR will continue to grow, probably apart from gaming, but I think VR will continue to grow. But then I think you'll also always have your traditional sort of games also. Yeah, cool.
It's just wait until we don't have to use our thumbs or our body anymore. Just wait till we just plug in, and that's coming, guys. Where we'll just like connect some kind of device to our spinal cord, and then that's it. And then we're in. And then we need a headset. Then we're just locked in. Full Matrix.
See,
it's coming.
It's kind of crazy, and we talked about this a little bit before we started recording, but
We're just there.
Are you scared?
he's
Can we
frozen.
jump into Sony real quick? Because I want to.
Don't be
You
scared.
hear
Sure.
me? Me?
You were, but
You guys hear me
Migs is
right?
gone. I hear you. Migs is gone. He's gone.
Okay, well, I think
okay.
Sony, you wanted to jump into
All right,
Sony?
so I'll
difficulties
start,
right
and he'll
now.
jump in on the Sony
so
conversation.
gonna go ahead.
Yeah,
and
because the way they opened up,
thanks for
they had this
listening.
really awesome orchestra.
And we'll be back
rocking.
next week, where we will talk about
Mhm.
a whole host of issues. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Uh-oh. Did Miguel just... Miguel, no, don't shut off the show. No.
We're back. Just to say goodbye.
So those were some real
Miguel-
technical difficulties.
Yeah, Miguel just shut the show off. He shut the lights off.
I'm
He
sorry.
said, nah, sorry. Sorry, Dito. I know we were talking about Sony.
Oh, did you guys get that far?
Yeah, we were already talking. I was definitely talking about the orchestra.
Oh, go.
You
How
know?
they had a cool orchestra.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
let's
ahead.
go, man.
So they
Whatever.
So
No
they
rules.
opened with it. So they opened with the with this grand orchestra, which was led
Mhm.
by the composer who was doing the soundtrack for the new God of War movie. God of War
Wow.
game. Sorry. And all right, so God of War is the reason why I crossed over or chose to commit myself to the Sony path.
Mhm.
That particular franchise is
God of
absolutely amazing to me. Those adventure games, this guy just with chains and blades and Greek mythology, and this time around they went to Nordic or Norse mythology. So it's going to be Viking
Mhm.
oriented.
Norse.
Yeah.
Right.
So
How does
that should be
work,
kinda
though?
cool.
Isn't Kratos Greek?
Kratos is
They don't
Greek, but
care.
it looks like
They
a
stopped caring. They'll do anything.
yeah.
They'll just jump around. Wasn't
Well-
there like a pirate one and like a Revolutionary
Assassin's Creed.
War one?
That's Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but they're
that's
doing the
Assassin's
same
Creed.
thing, aren't they? They're just like, whatever. This is a
That's-
war.
that's
I'm the
the
god
point.
of it. Let's
Well,
go.
So
okay.
in that God of War, when he does like his super move,
Right.
he definitely communicates with Sparta. It's not, he says something along the lines of like by the force of Sparta, by the soul of Sparta. He doesn't say anything that references like Hercules or I mean
He doesn't talk about
Thor. Like he didn't say Thor or
I
by
see.
power of Thor or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I don't know.
By the power of
Yeah,
Odin.
yeah, he didn't say like that's not what he references when he's about to do that super move. So
Sure.
could it just be timeline thing that like they just came out of
So
it?
Kratos still exists. He just moved north for vacation. Something.
He just hopped on a ship, man. After he beat the Hydra, jump on a ship
Right.
and gone.
That happened.
Let's go.
Uh,
Talk about
Sorry
now.
we didn't get to talk
Oh,
about
man.
Zelda.
Wow.
Zelda? All right. So basically, these gentlemen are talking to me about E3 and games. And they're like, oh my God, did you see Zelda came out? And I was like, yeah. They're like, doesn't it look great? And I'm like, no.
Wow.
I wasn't super enthralled with Zelda. I'll be honest. It's kind of cool. I think the biggest reason that it's so popular is because it's Zelda, the name. If it was called Little Elf running around the forest, I don't think it would be doing as well. I get it that it has a different feel. It's very painterly. It's very beautiful, but I feel
Something's
like
missing.
it's not the wow that I think.
I
It's
think
getting, right.
when just
That's
watching the
me.
video, it feels like Zelda again.
I could be wrong.
It's the first Zelda game in a while, really since A Link to the Past, the SNES
Mhm.
one. Well, to be
Zelda?
fair though, I didn't have
Oh.
Nintendo consoles after the SNES, so while I did play them, I wasn't super invested in them because I didn't actually have them at home. But yeah, it feels like Zelda again. It feels like that next big evolutionary kind of leap for the franchise.
So nostalgia.
No, I don't.
Nostalgia.
I don't think
You're like
I
you
don't
like
think
it
that's
because it's-
that's completely it. It builds on the franchise in a very substantial, significant way that I don't think that the last few games did. And then it also, in terms of like aesthetic, I think it corrects some of the things that the last few entries into the franchise did wrong. Wow.
Look at that.
Actually, I'll tell you what.
Dedicated.
I did play
Super dedicated.
those. Wait, which ones are those? The
so this was Majora's Mask.
I don't like. Yeah,
They're all remakes, right? This one is
Right.
Ocarina in Time.
not my thing.
Oh well, Triforce
Yeah,
was
not my
fairly
thing.
new.
But the other ones for 3DS I did like. The what was it called? I forget what it's called. Like the Phantom
The
Hourglass, I think
Ocarina of
it's one.
Time.
We have one more.
Yeah, Dito, what are your thoughts?
So you guys tell me why
So
you liked it.
I like the
mean,
Zelda. I like the Zelda could
You know
jump.
what? I watched.
I don't know how much that matters to people, but he could never
Link,
jump.
You mean?
What in? You mean?
I mean,
Yeah.
Link. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, you guys could curse me for that one.
Oh,
Whoever's going to watch this
okay,
video right
yeah.
now is going to be super upset with me. But yes, he can jump. That matters to me. Seeing this guy be able to swing all types
can
of
jump?
weapons, acquire all type of magic,
Right.
but not be able to jump.
He can climb. That's cool. I will say the gameplay, because I looked at a few videos of the
absolutely.
gameplay, and that looked better. I think their trailer was
Yeah.
garbage.
Yes,
think
that
it
was
was
a
like-
point that I wanted to make to you.
Trailer was-
After the trailer, when they started releasing video
Right.
of gameplay, it started to really put this concept
Mhm.
together. So like what looks so cool as far as the graphics and what could be when you
Right.
start watching the gameplay, then
Absolutely.
you start to say like, oh,
Mhm.
I can't wait to play this because this looks like something I got to get my hands on to really get an opinion for it.
The scope. I just everything. I think that they just made so many adjustments that the franchise really needed, and so I'm actually excited for it. Zelda.
And it's coming along with Nintendo NX.
Team Link.
which Nintendo needs to save them. Yeah, NX.
Nintendo
should be a new
NX?
console.
That's the one Jose is getting.
That's it. Nintendo, Jose.
I can't wait to play Super Mario.
Super
All right, guys.
Mario.
or whatever.
Let's wrap.
Yeah.
Cool.
Miguel, how about you
we can
take
wrap
us
it up
out,
now.
man? Because you did a good job before without us.
Appreciate it.
Cool. Thank you. All right, guys. This was the Super Bros
Thank you.
Podcast, episode 5. Thank you for watching. And we'll be here next Thursday.
Later.
Bye. Sign us out.